Hello YouTube, my name is Juan here at Tinker Garage. Today we're going to be tinkering with what you see behind me. I like to call that Mater. My sister likes to call it Mater. It's a 2008 Dodge Dakota. It's the SLT with a 3.7 liter V6 engine, unfortunately. Only two-wheel drive also, unfortunately. But what ended up happening was that door that you see propped open right now, it's window regulator went out. So I am going to replace it, and it's actually really simple to replace. So hopefully this helps anybody out that has a similar make or model, or anybody that has something that has that type of issue. I ended up getting my part from Rock Auto. Actually, it was the cheapest one I could find. Part number, it is, oops, sorry, 41073. It is the driver's passenger side window regulator. Literally 3-4 screws, where the door panel comes out, the weather stripping comes out, and then 3 or 4 screws, and then you pull it back out. So let's get started on it. I'll show you how to do it, and usually you can save yourself a lot of money if you can do it yourself. So, and this is a really simple part where it's literally unplug, take out a couple of screws, and then you put it all back in and put a couple of screws back in. All right, so let's get started. Alright guys, so you can see this is a new part that I'll be installing in my truck. Like I said, this is a window regulator for the 2008 Dodge Dakota. This is the old one. So what ended up happening was these clips here failed right here, to where when I pulled the door apart the original time, this completely broke. And then these clips here that were holding it up here on this shaft broke also. As you can see, I don't have this shaft because actually I have it in the truck holding up the window. A lot of times you see people use stuff like cardboard, tape, and all kinds of things just to hold their windows up. What I ended up doing was getting a sheet metal screw and actually screwing that bracket into place. But so this is the door, here's the trim. So easy, it's unbelievable. So first thing I'm gonna take off are 4 screws. One's right here by the door latch. One's right here inside. I know it's hard to see, but it's in here. And then I have 2 on the bottom. I have one on this corner right here, and then I have one on the right corner. So it's those 4 screws, this trim piece. I'm disconnecting the window switch from here, and this thing literally just pops off. So give me 1 second and I'll get some better lighting and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Alright guys, so for the tools that I'm going to use today are none at all. I am using a drill because it's faster. With a Phillips bit on the end, 10mm socket with an extension, some trim removal pieces. I'm using a magnetic tray so I don't lose my 4 screws, because that's all I really need to have is losing those screws. A flashlight so I can actually see a little bit better. There's the invoice, which we don't really need, and instructions, which we really don't need. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright guys, like I said, it's literally 4 screws, some trim piece removal, and then disconnecting the window regulator switch, and this thing comes off. So bear with me while I go through it, and then you'll see exactly what it takes to get it off, okay? Alright guys, since the screws are removed, I'm going to go in with my trim piece tool, kind of just work my way around the edges, and just pop it. As you can see, they're just kind of slits that are in the door frame, and they're just, well, plastic and metal clips. So only thing you gotta really be worried if these are really old and they'll break on you, but besides that, yeah, not too bad. So, and then next one is kind of remove is the window pretty much regulator switch. So same thing, put it underneath, kind of just work your way until it pops loose. Set that down, and there is your window regulator switch. As you see, it has that little push button. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. You just kind of get the gist of, there we go. All right, so, and then my tray, magnet tray, so I don't lose my screws, which I've done before and had to try to find. A little quick tip: if you're using a screwdriver and it does not have a magnet tip, I know sometimes it's gonna be a pain in the butt because either the screw will fall. Just buy one of these. Makes life so much easier. So it magnetizes and demagnetizes. I got this at Depot of the Home, or Home Depot, and it makes life so much easier. I magnetize the end of it. I can screw them out. They don't fall to the ground. They kind of just stay on the end of the bit. And even when I'm pack the screws, they stay on the tip and they don't fall off. So just a quick tip, just to kind of help you guys out. So now we just pick up, lift. So there goes the door lock, and then there's actually the, I know it's gonna be kind of hard for you guys to see, but there is a switch in here, or not a switch, but kind of like a latch, and this is for the door latch. So it has this little black or blue tab. You have to kind of push or pry away from it. See how it kind of hugs that bar? And it's open on this back end right here. You just kind of have to push it. There you go. Side to side, pop that out, and there you're good. And there you go. So that is a door. And you're probably wondering, I was like, well, where's the weather stripping? Weather stripping is right on top of that box right there. Because like I said, I previously took this out because this window would keep falling off. And look, because if you can see, there are traces of tape that I attempted to put on here to kind of hold duct tape to kind of hold the window up, and it wouldn't hold up. So I ended up getting, let's see if I can see it, a sheet metal screw, because for some reason I had a box of sheet metal screws. Let's see if it'll focus. Right there. So I prop this up all the way to the top, almost all the way to the top, because I know I didn't want any rain to come in. And then I drilled kind of like a pilot hole through it with a small drill bit, and then I screwed my sheet metal screw to it, locking this to that main shaft as you saw on the other part. But that's what's holding the window up, and it's holding the window up for quite some time because I didn't want to do it until I put a video up. So yeah, so that's it. I'm going to unscrew that screw, and then I'm going to take the 3 bolts that are holding this thing together. So there's 1, 2, then 3, and then there's the 3 bolts that go 1, 2, and 3, and that's where your actual regulator will go. So give me 1 second and I'll show you how. All right, guys, so I got my, got my 10mm socket. And these are, oh, battery's dying, of course. So these are for the main support shaft of the window going out. So this is gonna be a little bit harder for me to film just because I have to use 2 hands, because I actually have to put 1 hand in there to catch the window so it comes down. So hopefully you can see it on my GoPro that's on my head. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so I got the window regulator out. It's right there. Well, this is the post that I had actually holding up the window. Like I said before, I actually drilled see it right there. I drilled a hole there, and then I put a sheet metal screw, and that was just to hold this bracket up so I wouldn't have to put stuff on the windshield like tape and all that. You can see where this is extremely cracked, and this ultimately is where it failed. See right there where my finger is pointing? That actually held the cables that would pull the window up and down, and those just snapped. So originally I was gonna fix it, but when I saw that, I was just like, you might as well just buy a brand new one. All right, guys, so like I said, I took down the middle support, what I was actually having the window getting held up by. What I put in now are the trim pieces to actually just hold up the window for now until I can put the support back in, screw it in spots, screw the regulator back to where it's at, and then I can adjust the window from there. So stay tuned. And sorry, it's kind of weird filming. It just I only have 1 hand, and I don't really have a really good tripod to put it on. So yeah, so just bear with me 1 second and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. So hold on. All right, guys, so I have this in. So these ones you don't have to worry about untightening them until you have this in here. This piece already came with this screw, which it's helpful. So once you put it underneath the panel, it's kind of like a little fish hook. Put it through the hole, let it sit. You have to reuse these 2 screws here that were on the bottom. So make sure you don't throw these away. The window regulator only came with 2 screws. As you can see, these are nice and shiny. These are the 2. So you plop these in, screw them down. Your third one's gonna be right here. It's on the right-hand side. I know it's kind of hard with all these little holes, but you should be able to tell because of the markings. You can see these other ones don't have any markings at all. So I'm pretty sure it's used for another type of model. But yeah, so that screw is gonna be held right there, which is right here. So I'm just gonna put it in there for now just to kind of hold it in position because I still have to put in the wire harness clip. So that's gonna be kind of a hard reach. I do have, sorry you guys can't see that well, but see that clip? You can barely see it within that window. With the wire harness, where are you at? There you go, there's that clip. So I'm gonna have to try to reach my fat fingers in there, get it clipped in before I start trying to re-put the weather stripping, tie everything down, lower down the window, make sure it's in these grooves right here. So I'm gonna do that right now and then I'll come back and I'll kind of reiterate what I did, okay? All right guys, so I was able to actually fit my hands or my meat hooks in there and get it actually snuggled up and put the connector there. Like I said, these are the 3 bolts that are holding the regulator here. This is actually the window support that actually holds the window. Another way to go check to make sure that that's clipped in, put your keys in, put on the accessory mode, and then just reattach your window switch. And just be careful and go up, down. All right, so it's working. So now I just have to tighten up these last bolts, put everything up, clean off the rest of this old weather stripping junk, and then I can reapply my new one. And then after that, just button it up and put it all back together. Yeah, pretty awesome. All right, stay tuned. All right, so I removed the trim piece tools down. I'm gonna lower down my window and trying to lower it down to where it goes straight. Make sure it's not hitting anything. I know it's kind of hard to see. All right, so here we go. Ta-da! And there should be light. So there you go. There's the 2 window script. You actually can see the outline of where, sorry, there's a glaze, but you can see the outline of where the old pads were. So I'm going to pretty much put them where the old pads are. I'm going to tighten it up, and then after that, I'll rework it a couple times, make sure it closes up, closes down. But yeah, so like I said before, this right here is what actually broke originally. And then you can see in the last video, the last clip, that the back of this was completely cracked. For some reason, this window weathered really bad. I'm not too sure why. Like I said, I am in Arizona, so I don't know if it has anything to do with the heat. But yeah, this is a plastic piece that broke. So yeah, so just hold on 1 second and then we'll keep going. All right, guys. So everything's cinched down now. Now, test phase. So, the only thing I could say is the one thing I have noticed compared to the original ones, that it kind of goes down a little bit slower, or goes up a little bit slower than the other one, because that's factory. I guess it's about the same speed, just it makes a lot more noise. So I'll make sure I'll double check to make sure the cables aren't all crooked or all weird, but that's pretty much, no, they're exactly like they're supposed to be. So I guess that's just the way you get it apart from Rock Auto. So that's actually the second part I've had kind of noisy. My blower motor went out in my AC unit, and the same thing, my AC unit was a lot quieter, and then this one actually makes a little bit more buzzing sound. So it could just be the part quality. So, but it was really cheap. Like I said, I got it within a couple days. So give me just 1 second. I'm gonna reattach everything else, and then yeah, we're almost done. All right, guys. So this is actually the weather stripping, or the weather protective shield that I want to put back. I do want to reuse it. And the stuff that I'm going to use is a 3M Auto Black Super Weather Stripping. It's kind of like a gasket adhesive. Actually, it says gasket adhesive on top of it. So this is what I'm going to be applying. I got this at my regular O'Reilly's, literally down the street from where I live. So I'm just going to apply it, put this dashboard back on, put that panel back on, and then do it a couple more tests and see how it runs. So this is just another part. All right, guys. So like I said with this channel, if I mess up, I'm going to show you guys. So this plastic glue, or that gasket adhesive, is a B to get off. I even tried to use some acetone and scrape it off, and it was horrible. So I tried to get as much off as I could. I did apply the rest of it, and yeah, it's kind of giving me a little pain right now. So that's okay. So it's going to be held underneath by the door panel, so I'm good with that. And it's going to do somewhat of its job by keeping somewhat of a sealant on it. Next thing is, make sure you remember the way stuff come off. So this plastic piece, for some reason, thought it'd go over this. This is my speaker housing, and it did not. I actually had to remove my speaker housing, put it on here, because I was trying to overstretch it, thought it would fit, and yeah, that's not gonna work. So all else fails, just remove a piece and put it down. Or try to remember in what order they're supposed to go in. Like I said, I took this out quite a while ago because I wanted to make a video of it, so I just plain forgot on in what way it was supposed to go back. So give me just a little bit longer. I'm almost done actually finishing putting this together, and I can show you the end result. All right, guys, now I'm putting back the door panel. So make sure it clips on the bottom. Kind of see where, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see because I don't have a light, but let's get a light. There we go. So those clips right here where I'm touching on the lip, they go all the way around. Pretty much have to make sure that those are clipped in first before you go up and over the windowsill. So you want to make sure your door latch is connected. Also your door lock is connected. Just put you right there. So I can use both hands. So everything's snuggled up. Reconnect this, just push down. Time to attach the 4 screws and the trim piece, and we're done. So you have the fat screw going by the door. And another quick tip, guys, if you are going to use a drill, make sure you're just careful in what settings you use, because you don't want to strip out any plastic pieces. I've learned that the hard way. So like with this drill here, it's a Craftsman, and it has different type of settings. So it has one for like if you're actually doing some real drilling and you need all the power, there's that setting, and then the other 2 settings are from 1 to 17, and I honestly put it down to a 1, especially when I'm putting just pieces like this that I don't need too much torque on, because as you can hear, it kind of creates like a break, and it's not going to over tighten it. Oh, come on. Sorry, I didn't follow my own advice and didn't magnetize the head on the screwdriver. There we go. Give you some light. Here we go. Put the trim piece back on. Just that simple. And look, voila. Door is done. Normally that would have took me like 15 minutes, but trying to video and all that good shiza, it makes it a little bit longer. But sorry, I'm doing the whole Blair Witch camera scene with you guys, but just bear with me 1 second. And now we test our work. Pa abajo. Pa arriba. Pa abajo. See what I mean? It goes a little bit slower, but as long as it does its job and it holds up, I really don't care. So another thing about this truck, so this is done. So project done. Knock that off the list. But another thing with this type of truck, I've noticed that whenever I have this back window down, there is so much vibration that goes back to this back window. So I normally have to roll down the front window or the other back passenger window, so that vibration stops. I don't know if that's just a design that Dodge had with this truck. So that's probably what led to this one breaking, because a lot of times I'll roll down my front driver window and this passenger window, and that's when I get that vibration. So I'm thinking that's probably what caused it to break. But and all, yeah, that is done. So now we just got to gather the tools up. All right, guys, so we're done with the window regulator fix. So now I can roll down that back window when I need to. Normally it took me like 15-20 minutes to get done just with some basic tools. Like I said, I used a drill. You can also just use a regular screwdriver. When you do use a drill, make sure you check your settings, because like I said before, you don't want to over tighten and overstrip plastic pieces and just crack them, because then that just sucks and then you have random rattle noises. Like I said before though, this is a 2008 Dodge Dakota. It's an SLT. It has a 3.7 liter V6, which I know everybody loves. Just kidding, that's being sarcastic, because everybody likes the 4.7 liter V8. Unfortunately, this is only a 2-wheel drive. It is not a 4-wheel drive truck. Probably at the beginning of the video, you guys heard me call this Mater. The reason why we call it Mater is because of that. Yep, I don't have the front part of my bumper. I was not paying attention. Ended up hitting a SUV that had a trailer hitch. Destroyed the front part of my bumper, or all the plastic anyway, so I took that off and been riding like that ever since. Killed my gas mileage, completely destroyed my gas mileage. So I'm gonna be replacing that here shortly too, just to kind of put on the video. But these are the things I've done to my truck so far. So I have an Optima yellow top battery. I have a K&N cold air intake. I actually had to modify it a little bit for a couple reasons. Some places were hitting more than others. Let's see if I can show you. So down here, as you can see, all the way down there where I'm pointing at, I had to put a rubber basket on top of that, just so I wouldn't eat through the wires on this. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get something working and kind of point at stuff out. So here comes the intake, or my throttle body. Here comes the intake. This is your air temperature sensor there, and this is actually a stretch for this. So I saw on a couple of websites where you can buy this as an extender. You just have to splice it, you can extend it and put it in different spots, and it supposedly adds horsepower. So that's one of the things that I want to test eventually here coming up. Like I said, this is the cold air intake here. This is the tube. This is the stock plastic tube. I had to bend it just to get clearance. As you can see, there's that tube there that goes onto an AC bracket. Right there, it comes up. So I had to be careful with this tube right here, just because there was almost issues with it rubbing. So I had to bend it a little bit to modify it so it would fit. So I can literally slide a sheet of paper in there. And then behind that, I was worried about that rubbing also, and that is part of my AC lines, or my heater core lines. And I don't want those to burst on me, so I ended up getting some, what is that? Some like radiator hose, and just put that on there and zip tie it so it gives it a little bit extra protection. Another thing I had to do was, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh, sorry, it's a magnet one. All right, so so this here meets all the way down with the corner of this AC box, like right there. So what I ended up noticing, I installed it and I rode it for 3 or 4 days, and I came back and checked everything. And when I checked everything, I noticed that that corner was actually rubbing on that. It's like a AC condenser, because I know that's your low side. Wait, that's your high side, and your low side on the other side right here. So I don't want that to puncture. I have really good AC. I live in Arizona. I love my AC, so I did not want that to puncture. So I ended up having to take this box out, getting a hammer and kind of tapping that corner to make it flat, just so it wouldn't rub. So that's one of the issues that I had. Another thing I had to modify was, I'm sorry, this is really, as you can see, sucia. It's dirty. So I ended up getting this 90-degree bend on Amazon. Silicone, it matches the outer diameter of that tube with the outer diameter of the actual K&N air filter. Gives me a really good 90-degree bend, bends it down to this corner, so it's getting away from the heat also, because it was rubbing on all these wires down here that I had. So, and it was so hard to get it out. So those are things that I modified. Miles per gallon, it really didn't increase. Of course, my front broken bumper doesn't help. But what I did notice was my throttle response. My throttle response was way, a lot more responsive. I guess, yeah, way more responsive than normal. But yeah, so I added that. There's a couple other things I want to add. Try to see if I can get a little bit more horsepower and see and actually get it dyno tested to see if it works. So the Magnaflow exhaust is one. Electric radiator, or not radiator, electric E-fan is another one. And then the Hypertech chip. Try to see if that combination will actually give this a little bit more horsepower. Regular horsepower is 210 horsepower, and I think it was like 230 or 240 pounds of torque. So I want to see like what I can get this to. I just want to see how efficient I can get this thing up and running to. I know these will take E-fans, because I know the Dodge Nitro does, the Dodge Liberty, the Jeep Liberty. Those all have the 3.7 liter engines with the fans in them. So that's that truck, or that's my truck, I should say. That's Mater. Other thing I did do for a mod was a PML, your covers aluminum transmission cover, which is pretty awesome, to say so myself. It is way too dark in my garage for that, so, but yeah. Alright guys, so that's me fixing that window regulator and showing a little bit about my truck Mater. Like I said, there's some more videos that I want to come up with showing how much horsepower I can increase it. I know it's a 3.7 liter Dodge Dakota. They don't make anything for Dodge Dakotas. They don't make anything performance-wise, and it's very few. So the ones that are out there, I want to see if it actually does create some type of horsepower, create some type of torque, and kind of post it on video on YouTube, because I haven't seen anything really posted, especially for that make and model. I know there's a ton of vehicles that have the 3.7 liter, so hopefully other people can learn from this, and if they want to increase their horsepower, they can. So yeah, so that's this video. Other videos that I plan on doing are outside storage container. And using rivets, because I don't have a welder, so we'll see how I do that. And for another reason is because I don't have space in my cab anymore, because I have a little baby now, so, which is exciting, but I lost my storage container underneath the seat, so, but that's fine. Let's put it for another video. So if you guys like the video, please hit a thumbs up, and if you have any comments, please leave them down on the comments below, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as I can. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you. Adios.